Okay, so now we're going to start to refactor our application. We have all the functionality, but there's better ways to write this in more modern ways, and that's really the point of this course, is to get you familiar with more modern ways of doing things like React hooks and contexts. So I think where I want to start is the search component. If we go to components, user, search.js, we have a class-based component with one piece of state, which I think is a good way to introduce the useState hook. All right, so we just have this text state, which has to do with our input, okay, our input right here. So on change, we're changing whatever is typed in, we're changing the state of that input, which in this case is just text, we only have one input, to the value. So I'm going to refactor this using the useState hook, okay, and useState is just for that. It's so you can use state within your functional components. So first thing we're going to do is convert this to a function component. So instead of class, you could do function, but I use arrow functions. So I'm going to say const search. We no longer need extends component, so we can get rid of that and put an arrow. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. This is actually going to cut out a lot of stuff for us. This prop types, we're no longer going to have this within the class because we don't have a class anymore. So I'm just going to cut this, get rid of the static, and then our prop types will go underneath the function. So it'll be search dot and then prop types and all of our prop types, just like that. Okay, the export is the same. We don't have to worry about that. Now inside of our function here, we're going to have we're still going to have an on submit and we're still going to have an on change, but the difference here is this isn't a class anymore. So if we want to have a function within a function, we just need to add const here like that. Okay, and there's no more render because this is not a class, it's a function. We need a return. So let's see, props also are not going to come from this dot props. Remember, with functions, props come in here. Now instead of using props dot show clear or clear users or any of this stuff, I'm just going to bring it in here. I'm going to destructure this by just adding curly braces, and we want search users, show clear, and clear users, because remember, this stuff is being passed in as props. So we no longer need this, and of course we don't want the render, so the render ends right here. So we'll get rid of that curly brace, get rid of that, and then we just have a return. I'm just going to save this so Prettier fixes it up a little bit. Now we have some other stuff to do here. One is we need to bring in useState because we can no longer do this type of format. So from React, we're going to bring in the useState hook, and we're going to define our state right here. Now we only have one piece of state, which is text. So the way that useState works is we actually destructure. We pull out text or whatever we want to call this piece of state, and then we create a method to change the state, which usually you want to just call set and then whatever the name of the piece of state, in this case set text, and we set that equal to useState, and then we put in a default value, which in our case is just blank. All right, so we've now created the text state here. Now on change, actually we can, let's see, on change, we no longer do this dot set state when we want to actually change the state. What we do is call whatever this is, in this case set text. Okay, so we're going to change this to set text, and we no longer have to pass in this object. We just need to simply pass in the value we want to set it to, which is just e.target.value. All right, and then down here in the input, we no longer use this .state.text. We can simply use text. Okay, because up here when we created our state, we created a value of text. On change, that's going to be the same, except Actually, it's not. We don't need this anymore because this isn't a class. We're just calling onChange. Same with onSubmit. We no longer need this. So you can see we're clearing up quite a few things here. Let's see. So down here, this stuff can stay the same. And as we move along the course, this stuff will make a lot more sense. If this is your very first introduction to the useState hook and you're very confused, don't worry about it. It's going to get a lot easier as we move along. So let's see what else we have to do. Let's go to the onSubmit. So let's see. In the onSubmit, we're going to prevent the default just like we did before. We'll say if text, we no longer need this dot state. So if text is equal to nothing, then we're going to call the set alert. Now set alert is another prop that's being passed in, so we can just say set alert, and then we no longer need to say this dot props. We can just say set alert. Search users is being brought in and destructured up here, so we can get rid of that. And then if we want to set text to nothing like we did here, instead of doing all this, we can simply say set text to nothing. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that's all we have to do. So let's save, and let's see if we still get the same functionality. So I'll search for something. Okay, so cannot read property state of undefined. So it's talking about search users. I still passed in this dot state, which is where is it? Right here. This dot state text. It should just be text. All right, let's try it again. There we go. Clear, still works. So everything still works. We've just converted a class-based component that had state into a functional component that has state using the useState hook. So I don't know about you guys, but I think this looks a lot more cleaner than using a class. And you'll see the benefits of hooks as we move along. But I thought that was a good component to basically introduce you to useState.